Hello and welcome back to the Tea and a Butty podcast. I'm Dominic.
And I'm Erica.
And today we're going to be talking about things we've forgotten we love about the UK, Britain. Yes.
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 Yeah.
You did it.
Yeah.
And there's quite a lot of things we forgot that was like, oh.
Yeah, I mean, it's weird to say that we forgot anything because how did we forget when we talk about stuff on the podcast all the time?
Yeah, but you know, it's easy talking about it when we don't live there, you know.
Yeah, like as soon as you get there and you experience something, you just like, oh yes, God.
Yes, that's what it is. Yeah. No, I mean there was a lot we forgot. I mean, to kick us off, it was easy to get in to the country.
Oh, yes. See, I've already forgotten.
Yeah.
We've been back a little while. I've already forgotten about that.
You forgot it was easy to get in because, you know, it's easy to get into than getting back home here to the States.
Well, we need to explain for anybody who
has
not
traveled outside of the US or outside of the UK
or anywhere where they needed to go through like passport control customs, because obviously if you travel within the United States, state to state, it's just like you just go through security and that's it.
Yeah.
You know, you don't have to, there's no other like kind of level going to a place or coming back home from a place.
Yeah.
And when you go overseas, obviously, you have to go through, you have to show your passport. Sometimes, depending on what you have with you, you might have to go through customs, or depending on where it is, you might have to declare things that you have on you, or whatever, you know. But when you go to Britain, and I don't know if it's just because we're coming from America.
It's a certain number of countries that do that.
Yeah.
It used to be like the visa waiver program, they call it.
Yeah.
And you'd just be able to get in.
You don't need a visa.
You don't need a visa to get in. You just come and go and stay for like, what was it, 6 months or 3 months or something.
Just as an aside, I think we're going to start having to get a visa for Europe pretty soon.
I think we'd already have to.
Oh, do we?
I think it's already kicked
because
in.
You never used to have to even get a visa to go anywhere in Europe.
Yeah.
It was just like if you were traveling within the EU or what is
EEC.
The EEC.
The European Economic countries, or center, or whatever they call it.
Yeah, it was like you were in the visa waiver program. And now I think it's because of America, actually. I think America has said we don't want to be part of that program anymore. Or
the visa waiver,
Mm-hmm.
We don't want to be part of it. Well, no, they don't. Clearly they don't, because, I mean...
Because it has to work both ways.
Yeah.
And so it's not that we Americans don't want to be able to get into these other countries. We just don't want them to be able to get into our country without a visa.
Us coming back, we were almost interrogated by a guy. And it was kind of like, it was a bit weird, because it was like, okay.
Yeah.
I
don't know if it's going to apply to Britain, though. I think we're still not going to have to, because we have a different kind of thing with Britain, and they've Brexited. They're no longer part of Europe.
It's like the trade deal or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we're still not going to have to get a visa to stay in Britain. As an American, you are allowed to stay up to. Well, you're allowed to stay 3 months, absolutely no problem. And then I think you can stay up to 6 months, and you do have to have a visa if you're going to stay for like an entire half a year.
Yeah.
You're allowed to stay in Britain for up to 6 months within the year.
Yeah.
Yeah, something like that.
And there's that kind of thing where you're like, oh, stop the clock. It stops the clock if you go to Europe, or, something,
Well, yeah, because you're not in Britain anymore then. And that, of course, is all seen on your passport that you've left the country and that you're re-entering the country or whatever. So technically you could stay out of America without having to get without having to get like a special visa to actually be a resident of another country. You could stay traveling. You could stay on a travel visa situation for like 9 months out of the year.
Yeah.
Because we are allowed to be in the UK for 6 months, Again, that is with a visa. You can stay 3 months without a visa or 6 months with a visa. You could do like 6 months in Britain and 3 months in Europe and just only spend 3 months in the United States if you had the kind of money to be able to do that, that is. And you used to be able to do the 3 months in Britain and the 3 months in Europe without visas. You're going to have to get a visa now for Europe. But it's just a travel visa. It's just an easy visa. Like, they're allies of the United States. It's not going to be, like, a difficult thing to get at all. It was just handy not having to get it.
Yes.
All you needed was your passport before,
Yeah.
And now you have to get that. But, and so if you're going to travel, I don't know when that, or you think it is already gone into effect?
I mean, it surely should have, but maybe not.
I'm not 100%. But if you're going to go to Europe, just look it up. Just look up, do you need a visa before you go? Because they will turn you away. I think some airports, maybe you can, like, stay in the airport and apply for, like, an emergency one or something. But, again, you have to look it up because that would be a real pain if you've got things booked already and you're already, have plans set in stone to, like, arranged. And it's just, it's just better. It's going to be better to look it up. Anyway, all of this to say that it's quite easy to get into Britain from the United States. You can just explain. You can explain the setup in the UK, and then we'll talk about the difference.
Well, the whole setup is they have e-gates, electronic gates, which, whether you're from the UK and trying to get back in, or you're from one of the, I think it's 16 countries that are on the list.
Yeah.
That can use the e-gates, and you've got a chip in your passport. Mm-hmm. You can just go up to the e-gate, put your passport on, face down on the scanner. It'll scan it, and you'll have to look forward into a camera so they can take a photo of you, and then the green light will go, it'll just open, and off, away you go, that's it.
Yeah. They're basically just matching up your face with the picture on the passport. Yeah. And that is literally it. You do not have to speak to anybody.
You don't have to speak to anybody unless you get flagged or something.
And I didn't see anybody doing that.
I mean, I didn't see anybody
I mean, it would make sense to me, and also I wouldn't be surprised if they did just randomly do that occasionally.
Or if your passport's new and you haven't travelled to Britain before, they might go, oh, okay, yeah, we need to ask you what you're doing here.
Yeah.
You're new in the system, because, I mean, your face isn't new in the system, because you've travelled there several times before.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, obviously I'm from there, but, I mean, I imagine that's how it works.
It's so, because used to, you had to go up to a person, and you had to show them,
things, and they ask you questions.
Your flight information. They wanted to know that you had a return flight. They want to know, approximately, if not exactly, where you're going to be staying, that you have all of that booked. Sometimes they could even ask you, how much money do you have on you, or how much money do you have in your bank account? Well, no,
Can you afford to stay here?
Yeah. Can you afford to stay here for the length of time that you're going to be here? Yeah. Are you going to be working here? Which, of course, the answer has to be no, unless you have a work visa. But it's just so easy now. You just literally go through the e-gates in London
London Heathrow.
Yeah. And then
swish and swirl,
and then they have you get your bags. You go to baggage claim. You do not have to talk to anyone unless for some reason you can't figure out how to use the machine or what you're supposed to do.
Someone will come over and go, okay, what you just do is this, and they'll tell you that.
Some people they weren't flattening their passport down enough, or they weren't scooting it all the way up to the line or whatever.
Yeah.
And someone would just walk over and go, oh, you have to just scoot it all the way up to the line. It's not in the tray correctly or whatever, but you don't have to talk to anyone.
Yeah, you don't get asked weird questions or any awkward questions that you're just kind of like, okay, why do you need to know this? But
Yeah.
You know, which is fine because, you know,
well, it's not even why do you need to know it. Like, you can understand why they need to know it, but they are asking you these questions. Well, in America, for example, when we came back, you have to go up to somebody. There's no e-gates.
Yeah,
like, we're not in the future in this country.
I think you can get, like, what is it, Global Traveler or something?
Yeah.
And I think it's similar to an e-gate, but it's not.
Global Entry.
Global Entry, that's it. But we didn't have that, so we had to come back, and this guy was just like, and it just throws you off a little bit because you're like, yeah, we're coming back into the country,
like,
you know,
we live here.
we live here. Why are you asking how much money we have in our bank accounts and stuff like that, you know? And
where have we been? Who did
where
we
have you
see?
been? And how have you been away for so long and all that kind
and
of
it's
stuff.
so funny because it's
and
just
he's like, oh, you're not in trouble, and it's like, well, kind of feels like it, you know.
The thing is you've done nothing
it's
wrong,
like an interrogation,
right?
I have to ask these questions. It's like, yeah, but we're not, you know, that we're kind of, well, I'm not a citizen, but she's a citizen and I'm basically almost there, you know.
Yeah.
And it's like, this ain't freedom. This is not enough freedom for me.
Well, it's like it's understandable.
But I get why they have to ask it, you know, because it's, you know, I mean, you know, we could be terrorists. We could be
okay.
You know, I mean, it's like, no, not us specifically, but you know, someone could come in. We could be, you know, pulling drugs into the country or whatever they want.
It's not even really
laundering
about
money or whatever. You know, so we're doing some crime.
It's more about,
but we weren't at that point.
and it's not even necessarily a crime. I think it's just more about the fact that, oh, are you working over there and you're not paying tax? You're a citizen over here though, and you're not paying tax on it. You know, it's more just to do with that kind of thing. I mean, of course. Oh, are you illegally carrying drugs or whatever is factored in there somewhere, but
yeah, because that was another thing he asked. Oh, are you carrying
any drugs on you?
I think
he did ask us that.
Any drugs on you? And you were just like, my Loratadine.
I said I have allergy medication.
Just go Loratadine, quick!
I didn't know. You know, some people just refer to, like, over-the-counter and prescription drugs as drugs. Like, drugs are drugs, you know? I never in my wildest dreams thought he was, like, out now asking, oh, do you happen to have any, like, cocaine or, like...
No cocaine.
He didn't say illegal... He didn't say illegal substances, so I was like, oh, I have, like, Loratadine. And he was like, oh, right, yeah. And he was just like, okay, yeah.
Yeah, everyone's addicted to Loratadine. It's okay. That's legal.
But no, the thing is when you go to these gates, right? Like, you know, oh, I've just literally been visiting family or whatever. Like, I've done nothing wrong. I've been on a plane for 9 hours. Like, I was just going around, like, you know, eating fish and chips and, like, seeing the sights of Scotland, you know, like, I wasn't doing any kind of nefarious activities, you know that.
She was living a Harry Potter life.
But these people, they ask you, like, the way they interrogate you. It just like makes you feel like, oh my God, did I do anything wrong?
It's just kind of jarring when you didn't have it going into a country that's, you know, a foreign country, you know?
Yeah.
You'd expect it more. Mm. But I guess, I mean, they're trying to
come back home and get treated like that. It's just
and it's like, oh no, we got to do this because, you know.
But, you know, you just have to be nice and that's their job. And
I mean, and he wasn't, you know, the guy that has us, he wasn't like, you know.
No, I have had some ruder people actually in London.
Yeah, they had to do away with that after that. They were like, how dare you treat Erica like that? That's it. We're getting rid of all you border agents. We're just having.
I was sweating with that lady. I didn't even know.
Yeah. And from what you told me, it seems like she was just kind of like annoyed that she had to process someone. Oh, and what's this? And, oh.
Well, no, you get in any job, you get somebody who's just having a bad day, and they take it out on the next person that they're talking to. But anyway, we are so off track here. Anyway, it's very easy to get into Britain. End of story.
End of story, yeah. It's easy to get in at customs.
You just get your bags, and then you go straight through. Do you have one door? Do you have anything to declare? Yes, go through this door. Do you have anything, or don't you have anything to declare? No, we don't.
Just go to the baggage.
Go through this door. Yeah. And that's it. Then you just leave.
Another thing that I've forgotten was easy contactless pay. It's becoming that way over here now, though. You know.
Yeah.
But they've had that for years in Britain. You know, because when people watch those, why didn't you guys have chip and pin? And, you know, Americans are reacting and going, we do have chip and pin. And then they look at the date of the video and it was like
10 years ago.
10 years ago.
Yeah.
And so, 10 years ago. Did we have chip and pin 10 years ago? Yeah, and it's like, when I got here, 12, 14 years ago? Was it 14 now? Yeah, something like that. 2010?
Yeah.
It would still slide your card.
Yeah.
We take checks, you know?
Yeah.
At the grocery store. And I was kind of like, okay, no chip and pin then?
I don't know. I mean, you kind of felt like, oh, that's something that's very easy. It's something that's very convenient. It's like that exists over here. We just didn't really use it. You know, people were using Google Pay and Apple Pay and stuff over here. You had it on machines depending on where you were. We just weren't using it before we got to Britain.
Yeah, tap pay or, you know, contactless.
And I don't personally find that something to love. And
no, she doesn't. She likes counting out coins.
I like cash.
Yeah, she likes
the queen of cash.
It's like my sister loves cash too. She's very into cash. But whereas I'm just kind of like, it's easy to, like, you know, bleep, and out you go, out the door you go. That's why it's taken off. It's the convenience. That's why things take off. It's convenience.
Yeah, a little too convenient, if you ask
me.
It's
like, you're getting your information, all this kind of stuff. But it's like, yeah, but they already have it, really. You know, it's just all that kind of stuff, you know. But then again, you know, talking about easy contactless pay, convenient and reliable, and sometimes inexpensive public transportation.
Oh, yes.
I say convenient and reliable. I know people in the UK are laughing right now. They're like, ha, you must be kidding. That is some banter you've got there.
Convenient and sometimes reliable.
So it's sometimes reliable, yeah.
No, I mean, just the fact I think that it exists is nice. Because, you know, I used to live in a very small town in the Texas Panhandle. There were no trains that went to that town, or
buses.
Probably, well, there were buses, but probably anywhere close by. I'm trying to think. I mean, I really have no idea if the next biggest city had a train station. I don't know.
Amarillo probably.
Every little town in Britain has a train station.
Almost every little town, anyway.
Unless it's like one of those blink and you miss it type towns.
Blink and you miss it. And you know, for an island so small, there are few blink and you miss it places.
And definitely buses go everywhere. And even, well, just the fact that the island is so small, it's not that far to get to an airport either.
No.
Whereas it can be here if you live, like, I don't know, in a small town in the middle of America. You know, it can be a bit of a drive sometimes especially if you're going on an international flight, because even if there's an airport nearby-ish, it might not fly internationally. So you're still going to have to get to an international airport, either from, like, you know, your local airport, or you have to drive to an international airport, which is potentially much further away. Austin actually didn't have an international airport. Well, our airport is called Bergstrom International, but it does not fly direct from Austin to very many countries.
No.
I think Britain,
London
the UK,
is the only one, yeah, and that's only because of the Formula One.
No, I think there might be another one now too.
Oh, they might fly to Mexico.
Well,
I mean, you'd assume, why not Mexico City?
Surely it flies to Mexico. I'm not sure actually.
But overseas.
But overseas, I mean,
maybe Paris.
Yeah,
or Germany.
Maybe. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they opened up another route. But anyway, yeah. So public transportation is a convenience, even if it does not work all the time. It is something that we love.
Transport for Wales. We're calling them out again here.
It is something that we love about Britain, definitely.
Yeah. Tipping isn't expected.
Oh, I do love that.
You don't feel guilty about it. It's like,
I don't feel guilty at
my
all.
uncle, my uncle would leave. My uncle tipped everyone. you know, when we were staying with him, my uncle tips everyone.
Yeah.
Delivery boy, and it's just kind of
He's just too nice. No,
He's
genuinely,
too nice.
you guys, the service in the UK is absolutely atrocious. Like, there is no way in Hades that I would tip if it was, like, expected to tip over there, like it is over here.
This last trip now, it wasn't too bad. There wasn't any time I was like, where are they? What? What are we supposed to do here? We're waiting for our food for 12 years.
Probably only because I realized that they are not going to come and give me a refill. If they do, I will be charged for it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no free refills.
I think my first few times in Britain, I was like, "Where my drink is empty." You know, like
my drink is empty.
Yeah, no, and we did too sit for a little while waiting on them to bring us the check at the end. A couple places.
Yeah,
I definitely.
Some people would find that good though. You know.
They?
Yeah, well, a lot of people...
When you're ready to go, you're just like, okay, can we get the check so we can get out of here, you know, like...
No, when they're ready for you to go, because remember my aunt was like, oh, that was a bit weird, they rushed us out of there.
Oh, well, yes.
Because it's like, oh yeah, we've eaten our 5-course meal now, we can just sit and just chat with our coffee and brandy. Yeah, but a lot of those places, they're very kind of like easy breezy, you know, oh, we'll just, you know, in Europe at least.
Yeah.
In Britain, it's like, okay, yeah, it's 10 o'clock, we're closing. Time to go, we're just gonna, because I think in the US, they will be like, okay, we're closing in 5 minutes. Guys,
oh,
you know?
I don't know. At a restaurant, they don't necessarily. If you're like talking and everything, you're already there. They will start cleaning up around you, and maybe if they're finished cleaning up, but I think it takes them quite a while usually to clean up, you know, do the floors and everything. They will definitely start cleaning up around you. Though.
Yeah. Yes. But yeah, tipping isn't expected, and.
Yeah, I love that.
I love that. And the walkable cities and towns, that's another thing we forgot.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you love going on a walk around the city and the town.
It's just so easy to get your, like, daily exercise in, I find. In America, I have trouble, like, finding time to go, okay, I'm going to stop doing this now because I need to get some exercise in. You know what I mean? And I think a lot of Americans have that problems because we're driving to a place, we're driving from a place.
In my car.
You're working, you've got things you need to do.
You're getting the spot closest to the door.
And driving and getting to a place takes up time. In Britain and in Europe, you can walk to the place. So you're kind of like, you're getting to where you need to go, but you're also getting your exercise at the same time. It just makes it so much...
bike now. A lot of people use bicycles to get to work and stuff, especially if they live in like densely populated areas and cities like London.
Oh, yes.
You know, there's mostly people going, oh, I'm going to get on my bike.
Or Bristol. I was almost run over multiple times by people on bicycles in Bristol.
You were in the bike lane more times than you were not in the bike lane.
But yeah, I do love that. It's just such a nice way to get your exercise in. Like, oh, let's go walk over here. Let's go see what's over here. You know, it's kind of like being in a game. It's like, let's go explore. And you're getting your exercise. It's not like, oh, let's do this circuit that we do every single day. And it gets boring because it's just like, there's no NPCs that are just going to be entertaining us on the route. You know what I mean? Like, it's just going to be the same old thing.
People watching, yeah.
Yeah. It's so much easier to people watch when you're in Britain and Europe and you're just, I don't know. The walkableness. I really, really do love that. And I suppose there are cities in the States that you can get that with. You know?
Yeah, I'm sure.
Big cities.
Big cities.
I mean, New York City is the best place for that.
Yeah.
You know? Although you might get punched in the face. You might not get punched in the face, you know. It's always a gamble.
Yes.
Adds a bit of excitement to your day. I think Chicago, Boston, just any of these big cities that also have public transportation too. You have to remember, when we do these kinds of podcasts, we're talking about where we live.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
generally our experience.
There's buses here in Austin. You can take Uber and taxis, you know, but it's just not as convenient as, like, Britain or as some of these more compact large cities in the United States even. Yeah.
So walking, and the grocery store foods are somewhat inexpensive.
Yeah.
You're going to talk about the meal deal again here, aren't you?
I think they're a lot more inexpensive.
I mean, yeah, because we thought, because we'd heard before we went over there, there's inflation, everything's, cost of living crisis, there's so much, but, really, it was kind of comparable to what was, the grocery store prices coming up over here, and that's with the exchange rate and everything.
What do you mean now?
Like, like grocery store prices, people are like, food's expensive over here, meat, and,
Yeah, it's very expensive over here.
Yeah,
in Britain, it's not.
It's not really that expensive, no.
No.
I mean, they will, no, it's very expensive, but it's like, yeah, you come over here, it's like gas prices,
Yeah. While we were there, we made a video because people kept asking us, what are the prices like? People here in America want to know what the prices of groceries are like in Britain because the cost has gone so up over here. So we were like, okay, we'll make a video. And we were not shopping for anything in particular. We were just getting a few things that we needed, and we decided we'll just film us, like, unpacking this bag, and then we'll show everything that we got, and then we'll, like, scan the receipt so that they can see how much each item was. Now, I, as we have talked about in this podcast multiple times, am a frugal shopper.
Yeah.
We use the word frugal.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like to shop clearance. I like to do sales. I like to get as much for
label,
I like to get as much money. I like to get as many items for my money as possible. I'm not someone who just goes, it doesn't matter. Like, just, you want that gag.
My dad was quite a frugal shopper too. I mean, sometimes I can be, but sometimes I'm like, I go for the convenience. I'm here, like my uncle.
Yeah.
I'm here. I'm not going to travel over there just because they're 60 pence cheaper.
I am someone who, I know that a thing is cheaper at one store than it is at the other store. And I will go to that store to get that cheaper deal at that other store. And you can argue, well, you're spending as much in gas. No, you can't. No, you won't in Britain because I'm walking there. So
I'm walking there.
I'm walking here. I'm just getting extra exercise, okay? I'm not spending any more because I'm walking. Over here, all right, fine, Austin, the other grocery stores, a 15-minute drive, sure, yeah, I'm spending more. I might as well just pay the extra couple of dollars for an item, while I'm here. But for the most part, I'm like, all right, no, X, Y, and Z are cheaper at Tesco than they are at Asda or whatever, so we won't get them today. We'll wait, and we'll do our grocery run to Tesco the next day, and we'll get the few things there that we need. And to me, that just makes sense, and you save money. And when you're in Britain, you can get a bit more exercise, okay?
And it's generally, and this is another thing, it's generally better quality of food, isn't it? Like bread, meat, and chocolate.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't even know if General is really...
generally better quality of rosemary, anyway.
Well, the thing is all you have to do is, like, look at the ingredients on packaging of things that come from Britain as opposed to
the chicken is
America.
One thing. And I mean, I'm not talking about the chlorinated chicken and all that. I'm just talking about, like, over here, you get frozen chicken, and it's pretty rubbery.
Yeah.
And I don't know what. It's because they've injected it with phosphate or whatever,
I don't know. Have you guys noticed that?
And it's, like, very gristly, very rubbery, and it's like, that's not how chicken breast is supposed to be. It's supposed to be tender and, chicken.
We used to buy, like, the bags of frozen chicken breasts that they have in the grocery store, in the frozen sections here.
They're terrible.
And we just cannot do that anymore because they're horrible.
They're terrible. They've got some kind of broth solution or something in them as well.
They like inject them to pump them up to make them bigger, I guess. But it ends up making
them juicier,
the texture like really
rubbery.
Yeah, like rubbery. It's weird. You bite into it and you literally kind of your teeth just kind of boing yoing yoing on the meat. It's not appealing.
Yeah. No, because I mean, whereas like you get it from the butcher, it's not bad. It's like good.
Chicken,
it's actual chicken. And but frozen chicken in the UK, I never experienced the rubberiness. We bought it several times. Mm-mm. I mean, we bought this kind of like breaded chicken, like chicken breast, bites, nuggets, things that we were going to use. And you said no, they were great the first time, but you didn't really care for them in a.
I think it was just the dish. Yeah, the difference.
I found I was going on like the texture and the taste of the chicken, and I was like, "This is grade A. This is good. Why isn't this? It's like
Yeah, I bought a shampoo that I was using while we were in Britain, and they have it over here too. And I just noticed because I ran out, and so I bought some more over here. And first of all, the color is different. The color of the actual shampoo. But I just noticed there's a scent and everything in the shampoo over here. And it just doesn't seem to be exactly the same as the shampoo over there. And it's just like, why? I don't understand it. And the answer is just that they're allowed to put a lot more crap into products here in the United States. And I see actually people talking about it online all the time now. People wondering like, why do we put up with this? You know what I mean? And the unfortunate truth is, I think that if you can't, that the better quality stuff does exist here in the United States.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
But you have to pay for it.
You have to pay a premium for it.
And so if you can't afford it, then you have to go with the stuff that's full of crap. And that is really terrible.
Yeah.
I mean, it should be illegal, actually. Yeah. But that's another tangent.
That's another topic for another time, scenery and fresh air.
Yeah.
That was, I mean, you get that in America too, but, it's just like, it's the scenery and the fresh air. Yeah. And I'm talking about fresh air because, we had the window open all the time. And over here, you can't really do that because it's hot outside.
Again, when we say over here, we were talking about
Texas.
Austin, Texas.
Central Texas.
Specifically, yeah.
But if you annoyed people saying it's not that way in...
Well, I just saw somebody... there was some video, somebody going, "Oh, it's really warm here. It's really warm here for March. It's 55." And she was in, like, I don't know, Massachusetts, I think. It's 55. It's a beautiful day. And I'm just thinking, God,
it's
already
82 degrees here.
Yeah, it's already in the 80s down here. So there are places in the United States that you can open a window and have the window open. Because I love having the window open.
I mean, air conditioning is a blessing.
Yeah.
What was it? Someone said I learned that air conditioning was a privilege and not a right.
Yeah.
I think that was Ted Lasso, actually. It says, going to UK, Because, I mean, it got warm over there, at the temperature.
There's a TikToker that she said in building houses, the people building the houses or the landlord of the houses, if you're a renter, the landlords have to provide heating. So the house has to have heating. Yeah. It has to have heat.
But it does not have to have cooling.
But it is not required to have air conditioning. And air conditioning is literally considered a privilege and not a right. Which is absurd if you live in the southern United States.
Yeah.
That is absolutely absurd. Because people can die of getting too hot.
That's what they were saying, in Britain warms up. People are like, oh, our elderly are dying.
But I can remember, and there's really no explanation for it, and this again is off topic, but there's really no explanation in my mind. There's no reason why it should be like this. But they have, when I was little, my grandparents' house had central heating. The heating, in some older houses in the United States, it comes up through the floor. They had the kind that was in the ceiling, just like what we have here. And it was heating, but there was no air conditioning. Why? My grandma had a big air conditioning unit in the front window in the living room of the house, and then she had another one in the back window, and then they would leave the front and the door and the back doors open with just the screen doors closed, and they would run those air conditioning units and the ceiling fans. And it was, we were in North Texas, so it wasn't quite as hot as it gets down here, but it still gets hot in the summer. But it was, comfortable-ish, except for a certain maybe portion of the summer. But it's like, why? Why, if you have the ventilation already for the heating, why can't you just have why wouldn't you just do the cooling also? I don't understand that.
Because I guess cooling is used more than heating.
I mean, I'm not in that industry. I don't know how it works.
Your house, but you don't. Generally, the sun and the temperature will heat your house.
Yeah. Oh, nature's air conditioning. It's called opening a window, opening the doors. Allowing the air. And I
love doing that, but I just can't do that here because of the temperature.
Well, half the time the wind's not even blowing here.
Oh yes, and there was no wind here. It's just terrible.
Yeah. Well, we're sort of in the valley section of the hill country, I guess. So, there's not a lot of wind a lot of the time here. Yeah, it can get pretty stifling in Central Texas.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, keeping the windows open is another thing, that just like, oh yeah.
Oh yeah, then the mosquitoes eat you.
Mosquitoes eat me. Bakeries is another thing.
Yes.
You're sad about that because you love a good baked good.
Yeah, I do. Love baked goods.
And they're very good at doing it. Because you said, I'm not really rating Greg's. You prefer Jenkins now, didn't you?
I feel like Greg's. This is going to be so controversial. I don't know how many British listeners we have. If this finds it to British people, they're going to not be happy. But I find Greg's to be like... Greg's is to baked goods as McDonald's is to, like, a real hamburger.
I mean, yeah.
I think so.
Because there are local bakery chains and stuff. Greg's just became the McDonald's of bakery chains.
When you get a Greg's, it's like... I don't know, maybe if you get there right when they've baked it and they've put it out.
Early in the morning.
It's fresh and it's nice.
It's the same with Jenkins, and this is another bakery chain in South Wales that we were going to.
Do not blaspheme. No,
we would get down there at, like, lunchtime and everything would be gone.
Okay, gone, but not disgusting.
Well, not disgusting, no.
If we got it, it was still going to be good, even if it was in the afternoon.
Yeah.
Greg's, I find it like,
And just before the end of day, they were discounting.
Also, I don't know, I just thought...
a pan of custard slices for, like,
£3. To be fair, we didn't really eat Greg's that much this trip.
No, we didn't.
And it's because in Wales, Jenkins exists, and we just like Jenkins.
Yeah.
I think. We were mostly in Wales most of the time.
Yeah. And I mean, when we were out somewhere else, I mean, we went to kind of like other local bakeries.
Yeah. What was that place in Windsor? That was pretty good.
That was a pretty good one. Yeah, I can't remember what it was called now, but...
No, that was like their kind of local, like, Jenkins. Yeah. Right? Because it was kind of a little
If you live in
chain.
Windsor, you'll know what we're talking about.
Yeah, if you've been to Windsor. It was on their high street. Yeah, and we could look it up, but... Yeah, there's just bakeries, there's just the most delicious baked goods available to you.
Yeah, I mean, like, people go, gas station food. Like, people are like, gas station food over here.
Are they?
Yeah, there's a cult following of it.
Yeah.
Like, Bucky's.
Yeah.
And,
Bucky's is not, like... your typical gas
Yeah,
station.
it's not. It's like the more high end because I mean,
you can get a brisket sandwich at Bucky's. For God's sake, yes. You can get like a hot dog at your most.
But people go like,
stations.
I've got an empanada from the gas station or
a burrito.
A burrito.
Yeah, that's
gas station burrito and
coffee. You're just talking about Allsup's though. That does not.
Allsup's or any other kind of like gas chain. Gas
I don't know.
gas station chain.
Let us know if you eat gas station food. I'm afraid of gas station food.
Because that's kind of like what it's like in the UK. Like, oh yeah, bakeries, they're everywhere.
Oh, you're equating the deliciousness of the bakeries in Britain to American gas station foods.
Gonna pit them against each other.
Deep fry, like I don't know how.
I mean, to me, right? I mean, I'm biased, but yeah, gas station food is pretty grim. I will say that when I go in there and I see like a taquito rolling or a hot dog
but when
rolling
you're talking about
something.
gas station food, I don't know if in other states their gas station food is the same as Texas gas station food. Like we have so much deep
gas station
fried.
food is gas station food.
I don't know.
I mean, I've never been all over the states, but I imagine.
I don't imagine in other states they have like deep fried jalapenos and deep fried burritos and.
Well, let us know. Let us know if you have a gas station
like
that specializes in deep fried burritos.
Everything's beige, which I guess it is in the bakery
there you go.
Britain.
Yeah, everything's beige food in Britain. Yeah,
everything's beige. Everything's like deep fried and greasy. I think mostly in other states they have like pizza in the gas stations.
I mean, they have pizza in gas stations here.
Yeah, but we
7-Eleven have a pizza thing.
Hot dogs.
Hot dogs, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, well, no, bakeries still win out, there's nothing like going down there at 9 o'clock in the morning,
for God's sake,
and being the first, like, smell that baked goodness,
Yeah.
The smell of, like, a fresh baked sausage roll or a cheese and bacon turnover.
Carbs, delicious.
Yeah, and they even do French bread pizza. You need carbs
when you're hiking up all these hills, okay?
When you're hiking up all the hills in Scotland, anyway.
Yeah, you need the energy.
Yeah. I think the last one is foxes and magpies.
Foxes and magpies, yeah. You were complaining, though, that we didn't see many magpies.
They were being driven off by the seagulls. Those seagulls were driving on, and the crows.
I've never seen so many foxes, so... And that was just in your uncle's backyard.
Yes, there was a den in the neighbour's back garden.
Behind their fence.
Behind their fence.
Yeah.
Because they had, like, a tree line. Mm-hmm. And it was kind of like between there and there's like a quarry at the back of my uncle's place, and when I'd go up to not the upstairs window, and I'd look out and I'd see like foxes coming out of the trees, and then there was like a little couple of baby ones too.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, there's a little den there.
In the evenings, you guys, I don't know that I've ever seen foxes on any of my other trips to Britain.
No,
I can't remember seeing them.
Yeah, no, they've been allowed to like.
I've seen so many
free.
people's like YouTube videos and on social media and stuff though of like when they go to Britain, they see foxes everywhere. I'm just like, I've never seen a freaking fox when I've been to Britain before, but this time, yes, we saw so many foxes.
Yeah. And
they were all in Dominic's uncle's backyard.
Well, I mean, we we were throwing like
food
scraps out.
Yeah.
I was like, for the birds, for the foxes and everything, and they'd come and get it.
Yeah.
He
has like a little compost garden, and he was just like, just throw the scraps in that. It's fine,
Yeah, the birds and seagulls will get it, and the foxes.
Yeah. So it was like, as soon as the sun would start to go down,
the security light would would be like, oh, it's a four-legged intruder. And he'd just be like,
And they were huge. They were very big and
very
healthy looking foxes. Yeah.
Yes.
Aw, they're so beautiful though. They're just your classic fox. We did hear when we were out walking one evening, or not even just one evening.
The mating call.
Yeah.
The bark.
The classic, ah! Yeah. It's not quite like that. Oh! Like you hear it and pay attention next time you watch any show that's set in Britain. Like literally all of them.
You hear that like shriek, that bark shriek.
If there's a scene where they're outside, you will hear that sound. It just sounds kind of like a little like, oh, like not like that.
No, it's like a ow. Yeah, it's like a ow, and it sounds like it's
not like a bark though. It sort of sounds like a scream.
Yeah, because people are freaked out by it. I've seen a few people go, I was trying to get to sleep and I could hear this like screaming, and I thought, oh, it's a woman screaming somewhere. And then someone goes, no, that's foxes.
Yeah, I'd never
foxes
noticed.
Looking for each other.
I had never noticed it again. Any of my other trips to Britain. So this was my first time hearing it, and it's just like I immediately felt like I was in a BBC drama, like like oh no, something's gonna happen.
You're always in a BBC
we've
drama.
We've heard the call.
Yes.
This is like, yeah.
Anyway, yeah.
Those are a few things that we love, that we forgot that we love.
We forgot that we
about
loved
Britain.
And let us know if you're headed to Britain or you've been to Britain and you've agree with things on our list.
Yeah, or if you love anything that we didn't mention, because I'm sure there's other things. That we forgot that we love.
Foxes barking. Yeah.
Thank you so much for tuning in. We appreciate your support as always. Give us a follow on social media if you do not already. We are at TButty, TEABUTTY on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, all of the places. Special shout out to our patrons for their continued support, and we will talk to you all next time.
Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.